Alex Bozich.
Hey, Coach. Good morning. Hope you're doing well.
And you?
Other night on the radio show with Fish, you were talking about just the importance of holding serve at home. How big of an emphasis kind of just embracing that with your team and getting them to take pride in home court advantage has there been the last couple of days? And I'm also curious, you talked about in the NBA, you had some teams that were really good at home. What do you think goes into having a good home court advantage?
Well, I mean, again, if you're talking about winning at a high level, and if you're talking about trying to win the Big Ten, you can't lose at home. I mean, I go back over the history of, back in the days with Coach Knight, we rarely lost games at home. And if you're talking about establishing winning ways, you got to win on your floor. And that it's the same way in the NBA. You can't, lose half your games at home and think you're going to make the playoffs in the NBA. It doesn't work like that. So you got to, that was the first thing when I took this team over. From day one, I told them, guys, we got to win at home. And we'll figure the road out when we get out there. So, and so far we've done what we've said we were going to do. Ohio State's next. We got to win at home.
Kevin.
I'm curious, obviously the rebounding disparity, I know that bothered you in the Penn State game. What have you done maybe this week to emphasize that? I know some coaches sometimes put bubbles on baskets and so forth, or how do you get that aspect and that physicality kind of back heading into this game?
Well, you must have been in our practice then yesterday. Because, we put you put the bubble up and you get after it. You make guys, block out and rebound the ball. They don't like it, but hell, it's, I thought that was the difference in the game the other night. That one possession, I think we gave 3-4 offensive rebounds. And, we haven't been beaten on the boards this season. And, and that's not taking anything away. They're not a really big team. So, Ohio State is a big team. I mean, they got big center and a big power forward. So, we're going to have to block out and rebound the ball if we're going to even have a chance in beating them.
Alec.
Hey, Coach, you've talked a lot about obviously getting more shots for Parker and Miller. Coming into this season, you talked and emphasized a lot about how the offense was going to be a work in progress. Are there one or two keys on the offensive end that you maybe thought would be farther along up to this point that aren't currently?
Well, again, our pick and roll offense is not where I want it to be. We're not getting a lot out of that right now. And, we get it in spurts. Where we've been good offensively is really getting stops and deflections and things of that nature where have gotten out and got early, buckets that way. Rim runs where we've able to take advantage of trace and race running the floor. But our half court pick and roll offense is not nowhere near where I want it to be, man. We got some work there to get better in that area. So again, some of our half court sets, I think out of timeouts, we've been pretty good, because we're able to set and draw up stuff when teams don't zone us. But our half court sets, we just got to get better in terms of our execution and setting screens and things of that nature and cutting and passing the ball.
Tom Brew.
Mike, would you like to still play faster too, if you could?
Yeah, I think that's the whole thing. And, when we're at our best is that we're getting stops, deflections, and we're getting up and down the floor where, we're getting, quick strikes is what I call them, buckets over the top behind the defense and where we're spraying it around getting 3-point shots early. But, you got to get stops, that's the name of the game. And, I thought in the Penn State game, I thought our defense was solid. It wasn't too bad. I didn't like how we guarded our pick and roll coverage. And then the fact that we got smashed on the boards, that was the difference in, winning that game. And, right now, I think we're at a point we just gotta, we gotta play a perfect game. We gotta, not perfect, but we gotta play 40 minutes, man. We can't play 38, 39 minutes. And that was a winnable game the other night again. And we just didn't, we didn't make the plays and they did coming home.
Dustin.
Hey, Mike, you mentioned just them having a big, powerful power forward. I mean, just what impresses you about EJ Liddell? What do you think are the most important things about covering and guarding him?
Well, it's not just him. Their perimeter play is pretty good. I mean, they got shooters on the perimeter. They got the two big guys inside that can demand the ball. And Liddell, I mean, he's a talented kid. I mean, he can play inside, he can play outside and make plays. So I mean, our two bigs are going to have their hands filled, and I feel vice versa. They're going to have their hands filled with our two big guys. So, it's going to come down, I think, to execution and how well we defend for 40 minutes and rebound the ball. You're going to have to rebound the ball against this team because they're very active.
Mike Schumann.
Yeah, hey coach. Some of the guys on your team here have been through this Big Ten grind where it didn't go so well. I'm just curious, kind of what the mood of the team has been the last couple of days, and have you had to do anything special to kind of make sure that they're not getting down and staying focused?
Well, again, you lose a game like Penn State and you get some heads hanging and stuff, but you can't hang your head. The Big Ten is not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying, guys? I mean, it's what it is, and you can't reflect on what happened in the past. And, that's easy to do, man, and it's my job to try to keep them from that. And, that's what we're fighting right now. This team struggled in the Big Ten last year, and I'm trying to get them over the hump where we're not struggling. We're not playing bad basketball, but again, the Wisconsin, Penn State were both winnable games. I got to get them over the hump in those games, and we just got to keep grinding, practicing, watching film, and learning. And everybody's got to be committed, man. I mean, that's the only way you're going to get out of the rut that you've been in.
Mike Pegram.
Trey Galloway, is he ready to go tomorrow? And what does he provide that maybe you've been missing?
Well, again, I mean, he's, he gives us energy. He can defend a little bit. He can make a shot here and there. So, I mean, again, it just gives us another body, an active body that brings a little bit more energy. So, I mean, that's a plus. He can guard some of the bigger, twos and threes. So that helps a little bit in that regard. And he's not bad on the ball and pick and roll. So we just got to work him back in slowly. But, it's not him. It's going to take everybody that we dress, that plays on, steps out on that floor to be ready to play. That's what it's all about. But it's good to have him back because he's a big piece of our puzzle as well.
Rick Bozich.
Mike, you mentioned the Wisconsin and Penn State games, and Syracuse as well, were all games you guys could have won but didn't. Is there one common theme in them? Is it just a belief? Is it just having that one guy to go out and make plays when you really need to play? What do you think is the reason?
I think what you just said is believing that you can win. I mean, this team is, has been stuck in a rut a little bit, and we got to get them over. I truly believe if we had won the Syracuse or the Wisconsin game, they're in a different light. They thinking totally different, and we didn't win them. So, again, we got to figure out how to stay where we are at home. And then next time we back out on the road, we got to figure eventually I think we'll break the ice. That's what I'm hoping, because this team needs it. I mean, these guys, they've had some tough go at it, in the past, and they get down on themselves a little bit. It's my job as the coach to try to keep them up and keep them ready to play.
Okay, last question, Dustin.
Mike, you mentioned just a half-court offense earlier. What's it seems like you obviously have placed a lot of emphasis on Trace doing a good job of passing out of the double team. Are teams changing how they're doubling him? I guess, are they changing who they're doubling him with? And is that why it's harder to find Parker and Miller?
No, not really. I think they're just staying home and saying, Trace, it's okay to beat us. I mean, you think about in the Penn State game, I mean, hell, he had 18 looks down there. I think he shot one jump shot. And he had a lot of good shots around the rim that he didn't finish. So I mean, and that wasn't from double teams. I mean, he was before the double team even got there, he was beating the double teams a lot. So they pretty much stayed home on Parker and Miller and said, okay, Trace, see what you got. I mean, and hey, a bucket or two here or there, that's a different ball game as far as I'm concerned. I mean, he missed a few little bunnies down there, but he made some for us to keep us where we needed to be. I mean, but he's been double teamed, guys, from the low side. He's been doubled from guys cutting and coming back. He's been doubled just from the ball throwing into him. When we enter, the team enters the ball, they just come from the ball and double. I mean, he's seen all kinds of looks in that regard. But I wouldn't leave Miller or Parker either. I mean, they're shot makers. So I mean, I thought Penn State did a good job in terms of saying, all right, Trace, you got to beat us. And we missed some good looks. I mean, he had some good looks down there. I even thought the last play we went to him was a good shot for him.
All right, Coach. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys this afternoon.
All right, guys. Take care.